We're unpacking this fascinating and honestly super high stakes psychological dynamic that pretty much everyone experiences, but very few actually understand. It's called the shadow favor. So, if you've ever felt totally trapped by someone else's supposedly kind gesture, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's decode how these unwanted favors actually work, and more importantly, how you can take your autonomy back. Just think about it for a second. Think about the last time someone did you a favor that you absolutely did not ask for. Maybe a coworker brought you a coffee out of the blue, or someone stayed late to help you wrap up a project, even though you were totally fine working alone. It felt great in that exact moment, right? But then, maybe a few days later, you feel it. This heavy, invisible weight just kind of settling over you. All of a sudden, there's this unspoken expectation hanging in the air that you now owe them something in return. So the crucial point here is understanding what that weight actually is. In psychology, this is known as emotional debt. Now, most of us grow up thinking favors are just simple, innocent acts of kindness. But when we really look at the darker side of social dynamics, a favor is frequently a silent contract. And the kicker, it's a contract you never actually signed. It's an unspoken demand that's perfectly disguised as a gift, strategically designed to put you, the receiver, in a position of submission. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the invisible weight. Then, the mechanics of the trap. Third, spotting the shadow. And finally, the neutralization strategy. Starting right off with Section 1, the invisible weight, and the biological mechanisms behind it. What's truly fascinating here is that this isn't just some weird social quirk. It's literal biology. Our brains are hardwired for something called the Rule of Reciprocity. From an evolutionary standpoint, when someone gives us something, we feel this intense, almost irresistible psychological urge to give back. I mean, it's a survival mechanism that kept early humans cooperating with each other. But here's the real danger. Manipulators absolutely know this, and they use this biological hardwiring like a weapon against you. That brings us to Section 2, mechanics of the trap, and how this biology gets hijacked. Let's look at how this actually builds into actionable manipulation. There are 3 specific types of unspoken demands you need to be hyper-aware of. First up is the unsolicited gift. They give you something you never asked for, which creates this immediate, non-consensual power imbalance. Second is the overinvestment. They do way too much for you, intentionally making you feel like a burden unless you pay them back with your time, energy, or loyalty. And third, the strategic vulnerability. This one is incredibly sneaky. They'll tell you a deep, dark secret solely so you feel socially forced to share yours. And boom, now they have leverage over you. Moving on to Section 3, spotting the shadow, where we identify these traps. So how do you spot it? Well, you have to look at the contrast between a real friend and what the source material calls a debt collector. A real friend offers quiet support, right? They help you out and the transaction is just instantly over. A debt collector, on the other hand, operates with calculated moves. The primary differentiator lies entirely in how they talk about the favor after the fact. The absolute biggest red flag to look out for is what we call the public audit. A manipulator will frequently mention their favor in front of a group of other people. You'll hear phrases like, "Oh, remember when I helped you move?" Or, "I'm so glad I could save you on that project last week." Now, why do they do this? I promise you, they aren't just reminiscing. They are actively building a public narrative that you are in their debt. They are stacking the social deck so that if you don't comply with their demands later, you are the one who looks ungrateful to the entire group.
Which leads us to our final part, section 4, the neutralization strategy and breaking that contract.
To break this unspoken contract, you really have to use a framework called the value reset. This is a highly prescriptive 3-step method to cleanly sever those invisible strings and maintain your total autonomy. Basically, it involves separating the gift from the obligation, reflecting the dynamic, and then, if necessary, drawing a hard line. Let's break down each step.
Step 1. Accept the gift but reject the obligation. If someone hands you an unsolicited favor, thank them for the gesture, not the burden. Here is your exact script for this. Just say, "That was a kind gesture. Thank you." And then put a period on it. Seriously, stop talking. You are acknowledging the act, but you are absolutely not accepting the invisible contract attached to it. Conversely, here is what you must never, ever say. Emphatically strike this from your vocabulary when you're dealing with a shadow favor. I owe you one. No way. The absolute split second those words leave your mouth, the trap is set. You have verbally opted into the emotional debt. You've basically validated their manipulation. Just never say it. Step 2 is the mirror favor. If you feel the weight of that debt becoming heavy, you need to clear the tab immediately. Do a small, completely unrelated favor back for them right away. Buy them a coffee the next day, or, I don't know, grab their mail. What this does is it clears the ledger on your terms, not theirs. It effectively stops the manipulator from building this massive compounding interest rate on their initial kindness. You just hit reset and bring the balance back to zero. But what if they push it? Well, step 3 is the direct confrontation. If they eventually try to collect on that shadow favor by asking you for something you absolutely do not want to do, you must be direct. This is your ultimate shield right here. Use this exact phrase. I appreciated your help last week, but I can't commit to this. See what you did there? You reference the past, severing its connection to the present request, and you firmly refuse the demand. Now be prepared for this. A manipulator will get angry. They're going to get upset because you have successfully broken their silent rule. Let them be angry. Actually, let me repeat that. Let them be angry. Their emotional reaction is not your responsibility. Do not over-explain. Do not apologize profusely. Silence is your shield. By staying quiet after your refusal, you keep the power squarely and securely in your own hands. Ultimately, the most powerful person in any room is the one who cannot be bought with a favor. Don't let your own politeness become your prison. Keep your eyes open, observe the shadows, understand exactly how this emotional debt functions, and fiercely protect your autonomy. I want to leave you with this thought to chew on. Who in your life right now is quietly auditing a favor they did for you months ago? If you've ever felt this invisible weight and broken free, drop a comment saying debt-free and let us know how you handled it. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.